much. Hello, Merry Christmas, and how are you? This is DJ Clean. I usually do a podcast called Be Cooking in Cleveland where I create beats, but today I'm here to talk about a very serious subject. It's a subject dealing with Fat Joe. Fat Joe recently did the My Expert Opinion podcast with Matt Hoffa. He stated some negative things about FBAs, about foundational black Americans. I guess he labeled them as poor N words, broke N words that have nothing. And really, at the core of that subject, when you start talking about what is a foundational black American, when you start talking about who is really a descendant of slavery, really what you're talking about in essence is who will get reparations. That's why that subject gets touchy, because there are a lot of blacks that came over here on their own recognizance, on their own free will. You know, there's a lot of Jamaicans that came, a lot of Haitians that came, and I have nothing against them. God bless them. But if you didn't partake in slavery, you didn't partake in slavery. If your ancestors didn't partake in slavery, the slavery that built this country, the Atlantic slave trade that built this country, if you didn't partake in it, or if your ancestors didn't partake in it, then technically you have no rights to reparations. And really that's what this topic is more about. It's more about that than who actually started hip hop. That's a small caveat of what was being said. Really, Fat Joe was sent to poison the pot, to have what they call tethers. Tethers are black people that were born over here through different races of people, such as Jamaicans, such as Haitians, such as any other colored race. They didn't come over here via the Atlantic slave trade. So yeah, he was sent to poison the pot. By whom, per se? Well, let's follow the trail. Let's see. Fat Joe equals Jay-Z. Jay-Z equals Rock Nation. Rock Nation equals Desiree Perez. Desiree Perez equals the U.S. government. It's not easy to trail it back to the government. See, the government wants to mix this whole thing up. So we're arguing about who should get reparations. Like I said, they want tethers to fight against FBAs. So they can basically say, see, you can't even decide on who can get reparations or not. So we don't have to do anything. It's a whole ball of confusion. It's a ball of confusion that's propagated by the U.S. government. We're not stupid. We're not stupid here. Black people are not stupid. We're critical thinkers. We're smarter than you think we are. The NAACP for years for years have done nothing for black people. They have been paid by the U.S. government to sit on their hands and act like they're doing something, and they've done nothing for the progression of black people. The Congressional Black Congress for years have been paid to do absolutely nothing for the progression of black people. Oh no, we are not stupid. We're watching you. We're looking at you with a side eye. When you send US government, when you send money to the Ukraine, you got money for them. You don't have to come up with a study program for them. You can just get it and send it. When it comes to Israel, you got money for them. You don't have to come up with a study for them. Oh, it can get passed through the House and Congress and you can just send it. But when it comes to black people, we don't know how we'll do that. We have to come up with a study and study that and find out who gets reparations and who don't. Meanwhile, you have all these grassroots organizations popping up. You have ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. You have FBA, Foundational Black Americans. We're not even smart enough to come together. Guess what? I'm going to call out some names. Yvette Carnell, Antonio Moore, Tariq Nasheed. I respectfully say this. You got to come together. If you really want to get reparations for black people, you got to come together. The onus is on you. You guys are the so-called leaders. I'm not a leader. But I'm just a liaison to put this idea out in the air. Because guess what? The government don't respect you. If you can't come together as one, I wouldn't respect you. I call your bluff. Yeah. I pay people to sit on their hands. Yeah, I would send proponents out there to confuse the pot so you can't get your reparations. Because guess what? Part of this capitalistic society is riding on the fact that you don't get your reparations. Because in a capitalistic society, somebody has to have everything and somebody has to have nothing. And guess who are the people that have nothing? ADOS, Foundational Black Americans. We're the ones that have to go to other races for everything. When I was a youth, when I was young, I lived on the east side of Cleveland. I lived with my mother, my grandmother. Now that I think about it, in order to go grocery shopping, we were so poor. There was no grocery store in our area. We had to go over to the next city, which was East Cleveland, to go get our groceries. That's a bad situation. That's a bad situation. But that's how it is growing up as a poor black person in America. A lot of us are struggling. I had someone tell me yesterday at work, hey, they couldn't buy anything for their wife for Christmas because the price of things are so high. I told the brother, I said, yeah, I understand, brother. I understand. The price of things are high. But I told him, hey, Christmas really ain't supposed to be all about that commercialization of it. It's supposed to be about the man upstairs. It's supposed to be about love. You know, that's what it's supposed to be about. But back to the topic of Fat Joe. Yeah, he just being used by the government, man. To, like I say, to pit Jamaicans against foundational black Americans, to pit Puerto Ricans against foundational black Americans, to pit Haitians against foundational black Americans. Why? So nobody can get nothing. Because that's what the government wants. They don't really want to give you, if they wanted to give you reparations, they would figure out a way to give it to it, just like they figured out a way to give out money to immigrants that come over here. So this is all a ploy to poison the plot. This is all a ploy to test and see how organized we really are. And we already know we're not organized because we can't even decide on who the leader is. Is it FBA or is it ADOS? It don't really matter. Y'all need to come together. If not, our people suffer. We're the ones that's suffering. So if it's really about your people getting their reparations, you would come together. Somebody would stand down, or both sides would decide, hey, we coming together. There's no more FBA. There's no more ADOS. We're coming together. You know what? We're FABADOS. How about that? FABADOS. Foundational Black American Descendants of Slavery. How about that? Come together like that. FABADOS. But no, there's separation. And that separation causes confusion. And that separation causes the government, your U.S. government, to not take you seriously. That separation, that arguing and bickering back and forth about who the original black person in America is, about who started hip hop in America. You know what? That, like I said, that's a minute point. Who really cares about who started hip hop in America? Who's controlling it now? Who destroyed? Why is there no social commentary in hip hop? There's no talk about what needs to be done in the black community. There's no uplifting music at all. All of it is pretty much negative and trash. Pretty much. You know, you can enjoy the beats and you can, try to block out the lyrics as much as you can, but pretty much it's a negative genre. Why is there no social commentary in rap? Because once again, somebody has pitted you to be in a certain place. Once again, you could track it all the way back to your U.S. government. And who's at the top? Who's the gatekeeper of these music industries? Look at them. Look at how they turning out. Look at how things come out against them. So what does it really matter who started hip hop? It don't really matter who started it, who's running it now, and what condition is it in now. Yeah. Ask yourself that question. But like I said, people have been paid to block our progress to the road of getting reparations. People have been paid. All those people that you see in my title, a lot of them have been paid to block our progress to getting reparations. We not stupid. We smart. We sitting here, we watching you. Years ago, back in the 90s, there was a club in Cleveland called Vales. It was Vales on a Circle. The Congressional Black Caucus used to have their meetings at Vales back in the 90s. I went to a couple of those meetings because I was thinking about joining the Congressional Black Congress back back in the 90s. The conclusion was they ain't doing nothing. That was the conclusion. I came to the conclusion. Me and God showed me they ain't doing nothing. They just spinning their wheels. But then God showed me something else. They getting paid to sit on their hands. They not just sitting on their hands. They getting paid to sit on their hands. So it looks as if you have an entity that's fighting for you, fighting for your reparations, fighting for your advancement as a race. It appears that way. But in all reality, they are doing nothing. They wasting my time, they wasting your time, and it's time for the cover to be pulled off of that, man. People tired of that. We not stupid. We know. We know. So US government, hey, we can't make you do nothing. But it's to your best interest that you do right the wrongs of the people. You know what you got to do. You know what you got to do. Because if you don't, there's a greater good that's going to hold you to the fire. There's a God that's going to hold you to the fire. Do you think God is going to let you progress as a nation if you don't right your wrongs? Is that what you think? Is that what you think? You may get away with it for decades. You may get away with it for generations. But do you think there is a God that's not going to hold you accountable to right your wrongs? Until you right your wrongs, you will go down as a nation. You will not progress as a nation. Look at the history of all the people that did this, all the nations that did the same thing. Go back and study the history of those nations. Where are they now? So, America, you could be holding back your own progression by not righting the wrongs, the debt of slavery that you owe. This country was built off the back of slaves, free labor. There's a debt that is owed. America always talk about the national debt. There's another debt that is owed. You got to pay that debt, man. If you don't, hey, I may not see it. I may not live to see it, but eventually you're going to go down because you're in the wrong. Don't you get tired of being in the wrong? I would get tired of being in the wrong. I would get tired of a person saying I'm wrong. I would get tired of a person accusing me of something. Because guess what? I'm an honest person. I have a heart. I feel for people. But at this point, it appears you don't feel for people. It appears that you don't care about black people, United States government. And I ain't talking about no HR 40. I ain't talking about no study of how could we right the wrongs. I'm talking about actual resources. I'm talking about actual compensation for the wrong you have done. That's what I'm talking about. That's what the rest of black people are talking about. Who cares about who started hip hop? Right your wrong, US government. That's the real topic, Fat Joe. That's the real topic. Not about who started hip hop. Hip hop ain't gonna pay nobody's bills, man. Hip hop is not gonna bring black people to an equal playing field with the majority. Reparations will. We need those resources in order to start our own thing, to do our own thing. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of us doing our own thing. They want to hold us and keep us in that minority position. You ain't going to be able to do it. You're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay for it one way or the other. Maybe that might be the thing that tears up the fabric of this society. The fact that you won't pay the debt that's owed. Pay the debt that's owed. Forget that hip hop. And I love hip hop. Look, I'm a DJ. I love hip hop. That's cool. It's cool. But hey, I'd rather have my reparations than hip hop. Hip hop ain't gonna pay my bills. It's something cool I can do on the side. Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, it's a psyop. It's a government psyop. A psyop is a test. We're doing something to see how the public reacts to it. We're doing something to see how serious the public is about it. And as you can see, a lot of people are in uproar about this Fat Joe situation, about what he said. But a lot of people are in uproar for the wrong reason. A lot of people are in uproar about him saying, Puerto Ricans started hip hop, or Puerto Ricans, you owe them 50% of them started hip hop. Let's talk about, okay, Puerto Ricans were there. They were there at the inception of hip hop, but they don't get no 50%. They weren't there 50. It wasn't like 50% Puerto Ricans, 50% FBA people. No, it was, I would give them, at the most, I would give them 25%. They were there. What? Charlie Chase was a DJ for the Fantastic Romantic. He was, I believe he was Puerto Rican or something. Crazy Legs was in Beach Street. He was breakdancing. If you watch Wild Style, you see them doing graffiti and breakdancing. They were there, but it wasn't many. You see way more FBAs, way more, 80%. It was 80% FBAs versus 25%. But what does it really matter? Is that going to advance us in life? Wouldn't you rather have your resources than argue about who started hip hop? I'd rather have my resources. And like I said, I want to reiterate this point, because I hope this gets to Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore and Tariq Nasheed. I want to reiterate this point. Y'all got to come together. Ain't no, I'm the real deal, he fake. No, y'all got to come together. If y'all don't, then y'all really don't care about the advancement of black people. What's more important, black people getting their reparations or you being the leader? It ain't about who the leader is. It's about getting the job done. It's not about who the leader is. It's about getting the job done. Separated, neither side, I believe, can get the job done. Together, we can get the job done. That's what the U.S. government is banking on, that we are all separate. We are all scattered. We all have different opinions about it. That's what the U.S. government is banking on. They ain't banking on y'all coming together. If y'all come together as one solidified group, if we all come together as one solidified group, separate, they'll just keep sending Fat Joes. They'll keep sending Fat Joes to poison the pot, to mix it up, to confuse things. But together, FBA, ADOS, NAACP, Congressional Black Congress, HR 40, if everybody comes together and fight for one cause, for the right cause, ain't nothing the U.S. government can do to stop it. They'll have to pay it. They won't have to, you won't have to go through a study. They'll just pay it. So, hey, that's all I wanted to say is just be aware of what's going on. What's going on is all that FBA talk, all that talk about, what did Fat Joe call them? He called them racist, basically, but all that talk is being done, like I say, to confuse the pot, to poison the pot. So we argue amongst ourselves. So we argue with other races of people about who has the right to getting reparations. That's really what it's about. It's not about who started hip hop. I mean, it is, but it isn't. They trying to make it that. Who started hip hop? They'd rather you talk about that than to talk about, hey, where's my reparations? Where's my reparations? You got money for Israel. Where's my reparations? You got money for the Ukraine. Where's my reparations? You got money for immigrants coming over here to America. Where's my reparations? Kamala Harris and her plan, she had $25,000 for new homeowners, people that parents didn't own a home. Where's my reparations, Kamala? Oh, but you ain't fighting for that, but you fighting for Indian people, though. You got money for them. You could pass a anti-Chinese crime bill, an anti-hate crime bill for China. You got that, but where's my reparations, bruh? Where's my 40 acres and a mule, Jack? If I don't get it, I need my kids to get it. If my kids don't get it, I need my grandkids to get it. I want my reparations. Bottom line, I could care less about that Fat Joe stuff. I want my reparations, bruh. So, hey, it is what it is. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. Y'all have a nice Christmas. God bless y'all. Have a good day.